The mood in the camp is very positive at the moment. We've made loads of progress this season since the start in Gold Coast, and put a lot of the good foundations in place, and having that ability after London to have a couple of weeks off the guys after an intense series, and then since then building it up with the training and bringing in a couple of guys, real good competition for places, some of our injured guys coming back. There's a good place. I think we're in a good place right now. You know, you're only as good as your very, very next game in sevens. So when we go into the tournament, our first focus will be on Sri Lanka for the Commonwealth Games. That's what we've got to get right. We get that one right, you build momentum, you get form, and you progress and go from there. So we're very much looking at the short term, making the progress that we've done this season and bringing that in and really giving Glasgow and the Commonwealth Games a really good shot and trying to push for that gold medal.
People watching the BBC for the first time they've seen sevens. So what do you think this could do for the sport, the platform for the sport?
Well, I mean, I think hopefully it'll open people's eyes up to just the sheer speed, physicality and the pace and the athleticism of the athletes that are now performing. I mean, the growth of the game and the standard of rugby, the quality of rugby, I think over the last sort of 2-3 years has been absolutely phenomenal, and you genuinely have some world-class physical athletes out there with unbelievable skill levels as well. So I think it'll be incredibly exciting. And I think also with Ibrox and the stadium, the 50,000 fans and the history that goes with that place, I think it'll make it a pretty special tournament.
How confident are you that England would achieve the top 4 of the World Sevens, thus negating the need to play for the second round of the qualifiers next summer?
Well, I mean, firstly, sevens is sevens, and the wonderful thing about the game is it is the bounce of a ball, or it's the referee's decision. The next thing you know is you lose a critical match or you win a critical match. That's the wonderful nature of it, and we've been on throughout this season. We've won some very close games. Last play of the game, we've lost some close games. Last play of the game. The focus will be, once we've done Glasgow, because we haven't spoken about next year at all with this group, everything is focused on right here, right now. The focus will then turn to next season, and the goal will not be about achieving top 4. The goal will be about being better than we were this year. Fundamentally, sevens is, it's about doing the basics incredibly well when you're absolutely shattered in a final. I mean, so you can't really overcomplicate things too much. And a lot of the stuff we're doing is very similar to what the Faz does with the defence with England, what Caddy does with the attack with England's senior team. A lot of the basics done really well at a world-class level. So lots and lots of crossover, lots of sharing ideas.
Has the attitude towards sevens changed, do you think, in recent years? Have you felt
so? Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's still a huge focus on the entertainment that comes, and I think that is really important in terms of the global growth of the game. I think getting it into new markets and getting more people playing rugby, and I'm a big fan of that. I want to see more people playing sevens, so I think it's great for that growth. But I think people are recognising the standard of the athletes, the skill level. This group in here that have been selected are the fittest rugby players in England. There's no question about that. They would wipe the floor with pretty much anyone else, and the commitment and sacrifices they put in to do that are unbelievable.
Could you just give us a flavour of how a rugby sevens archetypal player has changed since?
Yeah, I mean, so initially you were looking at well, I guess the way the modern game is going for physical, big, pacey, but guys that can go again and again and again, like I said. So it's not about doing one sprint, it's about doing the sprint, then sprinting back, and having a short rest, and then going again.
Just ask, in terms of the team that you've announced today, what's the makeup of the team that are full-time, part-time? Whether that's going to change in the next sort of 4 years, you reckon? What's the makeup of the team?
Every single player is centrally contracted, barring Mark Bright, who we've had on board for the last 2 months from London Scottish. Mark Bright, I recruited at London Scottish when I was director of rugby there, and Mark's played a lot of rugby, sevens rugby on the invitational circuit. He's been a stand-up player in the championship as the number 8 for the last couple of years, and he brings a very good physical presence to our team, and that's important for the balance in terms of the sevens team. You need to have your speed, you need your playmakers, you need your steppers, and you need your physicality. So that's what very much this selection is about.
Are there any unique skills that you need in sevens which you wouldn't really need in 15s?
I think the ability to be able to, for instance, a forward and a back, there's a bit more of a crossover. So some players can play in two positions. The ability for a scrum half to be able to ruck and turn over ball is just as important as it is to go and play, make and go score a try. You'd never have a 9 in 15s expected to be making turnovers. So once you're on that pitch and once you're after the first phase, it has to be really adaptable, your skills, even down to kicking and kick-offs, receiving kick-offs and catching kick-offs. I've seen wingers go up and compete with tall guys and win the ball back. May not happen so much in 15s.
Firstly, the structure of the training is that often we're working in sort of 4 to 6 week training blocks in order to build up to 1 or 2 tournaments. So whereas in 15s you're training week in, week out for an end goal at the end of that week, we're working towards a focus that maybe 4 to 6 weeks away. So the training intensity is a lot higher, the running load's a lot higher, and you've really got a lot of time to focus on small detail and build up towards an end goal.
What is your most favourite stadium worldwide to play in?
Albeit the home support at Twickenham is incredible, but I've had some good experiences personally and with the England team playing in Wellington, down there in the Westpac Stadium, or the Cake Tin, like to call it. The atmosphere for them, it's like a mini World Cup every time we go play there, and to play on foreign soil and everyone, the crowd kind of against you, you feel like a real underdog. But when you get a good result, to be fair, they show you a lot of respect.
Twickenham's obviously up there. Weirdly, also because you get to play in front of your family and friends, which for us that doesn't happen an awful lot because we're playing at destinations thousands of miles away. I think the idea of playing in a home tournament is great because you know that you're playing in front of people that support you. On top of that, Wellington's probably my other favourite, just because of the noise there is deafening. Everyone there is there for a good time, and obviously being New Zealand, it's a nation that loves rugby.
Do you see sevens as an offshoot of 15s or as a separate sport in its own right?
At one point I thought it was going to become a whole separate identity. In the years I've been playing about 6-7 years now with England on and off. But now I believe it's there as a tool to mix players in. I think players can benefit from playing at both 15s and 7s. And I've seen some 15s players come in and pick it up really quickly, and some of their assets are incredible. Some come across as a bit of a slow development and it's harder to cross over. But I think surely now it's going to be integrated, and young players, I was lucky that I was young and I got an opportunity to go out there, because you're playing in front of worldwide audiences, high pressure games, and for your country. What more do you want? And it's your basic skills put under huge pressure. Miss a tackle in 7s, everyone knows about it. They normally go score. In 15s, you kind of had your mate with you, and the full-back and the sweeper may get it, but it is everything focused under a telescope.
With the success of the Sevens League in the likes of the US of A and Russia, would you like to see a national league started within the UK?
Yeah, I mean, I actually got a bit of game time recently in the GB7 series, which is only 4 legs at the moment in the summer. But it would be great to see a real league like our Premiership in the 15s. It'd be great to see that developing, because it would only do amazing things for the sport, and I also think it would attract more people to rugby, because as a spectator's game, 7s is a great way of entering into rugby if you're not used to it, because it's fast, it's exciting, it's dynamic, and it's only 14 minutes long. So if you're not someone who's really into rugby at the moment, it's a great way of getting yourself into it. But yeah, it'd be great, and it'd be nice for us to play week in, week out as well, because you only get the opportunities 9 times a year, so a league would do us well.
Which players did you admire and look up to when you were growing up? Who strikes best?
When I was growing up, probably the first player who I ever really knew his name and looked up to was Joan Lomo from the '95 World Cup, when he was like a battering ram, just went through our defence. But then after that, I think because I played back row at school and I used to look up to Neil Back and Richard Hill, I thought they were the building blocks of a great team that went on to do well in the World Cup, and their careers were incredible.
Well, in terms of 7s, when I was watching it when I was younger, had a lot of respect for Tomasi Tharma, who's still playing now as halfback for New Zealand. He was probably at the peak of his career when I was watching it and about to get into it, and I had a lot of respect for what he was doing for the team. There's a lot of players who've been in amongst the England team as well who I have a lot of respect for, but if I mention them on live interview, I'd probably get a bit of stick. But so I'll keep them to myself.